So I was doing absolutely everything in my business. I didn't even know that I needed someone else to help me in my business at that point. When you're hiring a coach as well, make sure that the coach actually has what you want to achieve.
If you like the idea of running a business that doesn't rely on your personal brand, then you are going to love today's interview with the founder of AWPT, which is a company supporting hundreds of coaches all around the world in becoming better fitness coaches. So, Kayla, I want you to share with me one thing that you feel in the past year or so has empowered you to actually reach more people, because you have built a stellar brand, and I am super proud and grateful to be able to have supported you with that. So what's one thing that you think other coaches should be focusing on right now that's going to empower them to grow further?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I've absolutely loved working with you over the past year as well, Lauren, and connecting with you, and so grateful to be on this podcast today. For me, building a team and not, like you said before, not having that personal brand just being relied upon me. Having a VA has really helped take myself away from what I've had to do in my business that doesn't allow me to work on my business. So, the marketing side of things has always been a struggling point of mine. And I think that, having other people who are professionals in their field do the things that I'm not necessarily best at has been a massive shift and pivotal point for me. And having that direction to be able to do that and to grow my business to this level, to be able to service thousands of coaches has been, probably one of the biggest things that has helped me grow to where I am and, go towards going to where I want to be.
I love it. And so before you had your team, what were you typically spending your time doing on a day-to-day basis?
So I was doing absolutely everything in my business. I was doing all the emails. I was getting back to everybody's email. I was doing all the payments. I was almost taking payments manually. I didn't have any system set up. I was sending out all the emails to tell people when the course was happening, what times it was going to be on, getting back to people personally. And I didn't even know that I needed someone else to help me in my business at that point. I was like, yeah, I can just do all this, it's fine. But it was actually just taking time away from me being able to grow the business and to, work on creating new courses and do the things that I really wanted to be creative. So it has, just made such a difference to my life. Everybody needs someone to help you that knows what they're doing a lot more than you do as well, because as a coach, I know about training, I know about nutrition and biomechanics and things like that, but I don't know necessarily about setting up the back-end systems, about technology, about marketing and things like that. So it's really made a massive difference and really helped.
And you know what? It's so interesting is that sometimes, at least I find, before you bring the right team members on, you're so used to doing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis that you don't know how different you could feel any other way, or how different your business could actually look. And then when you get that person in, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that I should be feeling this way, or that I could be doing these things. And it's like when you wake up from a refreshing sleep and you didn't even realize that you were tired before, right? And so I know one thing, because I remember this when I was in the fitness industry. I had so much knowledge, and I was constantly studying different meta-analyses of all these various different nutritional aspects and so on and so forth. And I was nerding out hardcore on that. And I remember this was before I ever even had any clients. And so I had all this information and I was learning. But then one day I realized this is actually very self-indulgent, because I'm learning all this stuff, but if I don't have anybody to share it with, then what's the whole point? And so I started shifting to sharing it on social media. But I was sharing it on social media, and as we know, when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. And also it was a little bit too advanced for them. And so the way I see it, and I think one thing that you've always shared with me that's brilliant, is that this concept of coaches or business owners actually needing to focus so much more on learning sales and marketing. So, do you want to talk to that? Because I know that learning sales was a big shift for you when you came in and started working with one of our master coaches at Impact School, Coach Lara. So, what changed for you? Because I think before you were kind of just taking kind of friendly calls with people, and so then you actually learned how to do it. How did that kind of affect your results and everything that you were doing?
Yeah, 100%. Like you're totally right. Like it's like you have all this information, but you don't have anybody to share it with. And so it is important. And I, for a long time, I knew social media was important, but also I kind of like hated it a little bit because it was just like, this isn't what I want to be doing in my business. It's not what I love doing. Like I love speaking to people, I love talking to people. But then I had this mindset shift that actually like being able to talk to these people is going to help me grow my business anyway. And it's actually like a really good tool for it. So it's not that I was wasting time on it. It was actually helping me bring in new leads and things like that. So, uh, like you asked, like when, like utilizing Lara, one thing she really pointed out to me with sales was to make sure that you're telling your clients about the benefits of what they're going to get from working with you rather than just telling your clients what you offer and what you give them. You need to kind of like suit your offer for them and fit it to them. And once I realized that, like and she also told me like what my worth was as well for my program. So I put my prices up on my programs, and it's actually been, a whole lot easier to get people, to get them to sign up from calls as well, because as well, like they're already primed for the call, like through marketing, through application processes and things like that. They actually already want to work with me. So I think first and foremost, like valuing your customer and making sure that your customers are getting value and they're raving about you and they're saying how good you are is going to be the first step in your marketing, so that you get these referrals, you get these recommendations, and then people are just pretty much wanting to work with you, and they're almost telling you why they want to work with you rather than you having to sell yourself. So they're already getting on the call, and they're pretty much already set to go. You're kind of just confirming it rather than trying to convert them, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense because I think something that you do really well is you share a lot of testimonials all across your social media. And I think that's a really, really powerful marketing strategy because when people can see a person that feels like them and looks like them in your marketing, then they're able to transport themselves into that narrative, that video, that copy, and actually see how this can work for themselves. And I think what's also really cool that I see from your social media profiles is that it really is this community vibe. Like you get this feeling of community. I was actually scrolling on Facebook the other day and I saw your ad as well. And there's just all these coaches there who are all your ideal clients. And then when people see that, and it's in a gym environment too, when they notice that, they'll think, oh, that's a familiar environment to me. What is this? And they'll get interested. And so it's as well just knowing your ideal client better than anyone else. So I would like to share with you, I would like to ask, wait, hang on, I screwed that. Okay, let me start that again. So I would like to, this is always what's happening. Like normally when I do interviews, I do them live. So like I'm never editing it, but now I'm like, oh, this isn't even live. So we can cut stuff. Okay. So, so how did you actually decide that you wanted to build a company brand rather than running this all under your name? Because you have a pretty decent following on Instagram, like more than 20,000 followers. But a lot of people would have that and they would think, okay, cool, I can leverage my personal brand. But you actually decided to start from scratch and start a company. So what was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, so I have a vision for AWPT that is beyond just me, beyond Kayla Lee Physio. I want it to be something that lasts for a time that, is after I finish, like I want it to be the change that women need to see in the world with their fitness and with their nutrition and with their health, most importantly. And within AWPT, I do have other coaches that work for me in their specific area. So for me, I'm a physio, my background is anatomy and biomechanics. That's what I really focus on. But then I have a coach, her name's Faye, and she does a lot to do with the menstrual cycle and women's physiology. And she is just an absolute expert at everything like health, menstrual cycle, physiology related, all types of different menstrual cycle dysfunctions. And so that is her specific area where she's an expert. And so having her on, and then having, other professionals on within the company who are the best in their field is basically where I see AWPT going. And I did really want to build that community brand where it isn't just reliant on me. And it's going to be something that will eventually hopefully be bigger than me and will last for longer than me as well. So yeah, that's why I decided to shift from, well, not shift, like focusing on both, but I wanted to have that AWPT brand where, I wasn't necessarily, it wasn't reliant on me, and I wasn't necessarily the one who, was associated with it. I wanted it to be more of like a community environment.
Yeah, and I think you've done a great job of that because I always find it funny when you say that you hate marketing and you just love nerding out on all the health and fitness side of things because I really do think that you do a good job of it. So what have been some things that have helped you get better at it despite the fact that you don't particularly like it?
I think planning ahead more has been really helpful, because before I was just kind of ad hocing it, and it was just like, when I was in the gym, I would just film something. And it actually is probably the place where I have most of my ideas, is when I'm actually training. I'm like, oh, this is something that could be helpful for someone. Or if I see something in the gym that might not necessarily be, the most effective way to do something, then that gives me an idea for a piece of content, and I can write that down in my notes and things like that. Um, but I think more than anything, potentially like networking is something that I really love. Like I just love talking to people, and I love connecting with people. So that's probably what kind of shifted in terms of like, I get to connect and I get to meet new people through this platform. Why wouldn't I utilize that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And clients as well, right? So it helps the business and it helps you. And I always say as well, when you're a business owner scrolling on social media, think about it as business media and not social media, and then just quit whining about having to do it because it's a way for you to reach people for free. You don't have to run paid ads.
Yeah.
And so I've pretty much built my entire business all organically, a multi-million dollar business. And so if you're complaining about social media, just think about how powerful it is, really. And one thing that I thought
Yeah.
was particularly interesting about something that you just said right there was a very powerful statement, and I don't think you quite realized how powerful it was. Because as the founder of a company, one of your duties is to cast the vision as to where you want to go next. So, something that I always say to clients coming into Impact School is that we've built the car. We know how to drive the car wherever you want it to go. We can fine tune the engine as you like. You can go as fast as you want. We know how to fix it if you have a car crash or hit a pothole in the road. But you need to learn how to actually drive this car. And I don't mean you have to learn every single nitty gritty thing, but if you think about the car as all the systems, you need to know how these fit in with where you're going and your vision and your direction. Because then what can end up happening is very soon you can then hire a chauffeur, aka bring on a team, and hire the people to replace the gas and everything to actually get you to where you want to go, right? So that you, as the CEO and the founder, can sit in the passenger seat and decide where you want to go next. But you can only do that if you can trust in the fact that the car is going to run without you and that the people driving it are actually good at what they do. And so you have now got a great team around you, which is cool. And it's great to see them, running your socials and getting all that stuff up, because whenever I check, I'm like, wow, this is really, really cool. So everyone, you should check it out. What is the Instagram? AWPT _university.
Underscore
Yeah, okay.
university. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So check that out because you'll see what Kayla and her team are doing there is brilliant. And casting your vision. So I know before we started recording this is something that you mentioned that was really, really helpful in working with us was clarifying that vision. So I'd love to know how that process was for you and what was it exactly that we did to support you with that, because obviously this is something that you do yourself. We can't tell you you need to do this and this is where you need to go, but we can empower you to have
Mm.
different ideas and concepts. So I'd love to hear like sort of like your vision before and then your vision after, and how it was, like, and how we, and how it was, how do I make this sentence make sense, and how and how Impact School helped you clarify that.
Yeah, for sure. So when I first started AWPT, it was just an 8-week course, and it was kind of something that I created almost on the fly when COVID hit. So an ex-partner of mine and I were traveling and teaching in person in gyms, and that was all taken away, like with COVID. Like once everything shut down, there was no income, nothing. So I had to create something where I could reach people online, which is pretty much what, a lot of coaches and a lot of people did when COVID hit. And so yeah, I had no idea that it was going to grow into what it has grown into today. I just thought it was going to be like an 8-week course, but now it's an 8-week course. It's a 6-month mentorship. We've got other courses that we're creating, like a menstrual cycle course. We've just launched a neuroscience course. So, yeah, I just thought it was going to be an 8-week course. And then, sitting down with Lara and, speaking to yourself and working with Impact School, I've kind of just gotten really clear on what I want it to look like and how I want it to look. And so I've got this big whiteboard at my office at home, and it's literally got, the things that I want to achieve. Like, I see these other companies, like these other women's health companies, and they do like women's training and women's certificates and like pre and postnatal coaching, but I want to be the go-to company for women's health, like in every aspect, in terms of training, in nutrition, um in mindset, in pre postnatal. And yeah, I just want to, I guess, create something, and I hope I am doing that, that is like the go-to women's health education company that people can go to. So yeah, working with Lara has really helped me get really clear on what that's going to look like, how I'm going to build out those courses, how to like look for hiring contractors and people who are the experts in their field, and getting people on board to help me, because it is such a big job and I do need help with it. So yeah, just having like being able to have that support there has been really, really helpful for me. And I think a lot of other coaches that you work with as well, like I also see them doing amazing things too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I wanted to ask you, when you're trying to get clear on how you want everything to be looking, what are some things that you go ahead and do? So, for example, I just grab a notebook and a pen, and there's this place that I like to walk to. It's like a 30-minute walk. It's kind of far and it's bloody hot here in Dubai. But I go there and I literally just sit and I just write. And I look out at the ocean and it's so peaceful, and I hear the birds tweeping, and I just ask myself a series of divergent questions. So divergent thinking literally has changed my life, and it's where you basically try and think about a concept and then ask yourself about that concept from many, many different angles. So let's just say I would say to myself, how can I increase sales? I wouldn't just think about how can I increase sales. I would say, what would my competitor do to increase their sales? What would I do if I wanted to get less sales? And then basically do the opposite of that.
Do
What
the
would I
opposite.
do in order to, yeah, what would I do in order to get more leads that would then convert into sales? How could I actually focus on selling more to my existing customers and retaining them rather than focusing on more leads? What should I do if I need to actually increase my prices so that I don't need to make more sales but make more per sale. And how would my whole sales process need to look? So that's what I kind of do when I'm personally looking to make a big shift in my business. But it's pretty unique for everyone because everyone's brains think differently, and my brain is pretty chaotic all over the place. So I have to think like that to get an actual good decision, because the decision doesn't even always come in that moment. It will then come later on in the day or the month or even like next year when I'm connecting some dots and things just seem to all fit together, right? So yeah, what are some things that you do to make sure that you're staying in that vision type of mindset?
Well, it's amazing that you said that because I feel like I've kind of done that like intuitively. Like I do have like my big whiteboard where I'm like, okay, so I've got this course, then I've got this course, this course, this course, and this course, and I've got my mentorship. But then recently, only recently, I've been thinking, well, how can I put it all together so it's almost like one big program, one big course where I can keep people in and service less clients for more money, like you were saying, increasing the value of, maybe it becomes like maybe these courses become into part of the mentorship, and I have these other contractors working within that mentorship and providing just a whole lot of value to just a small amount of clients, but they're paying sort of like, a higher price point kind of thing. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing around with. So I go to that vision board, I go to that structure, that board that I have, and I play around with some things there. And I'm like, so what do I need to do next to be able to get to that vision? So to be able to get to where I want it to go, what else do I need to do? What's my next steps? And how am I going to get there, and how am I going to structure it? So yeah, it's I guess like a little bit similar. Um, but at first it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to have this course and then all these separate courses, and that's going to be the company. But now it's almost like, well, how can I make this just maybe like one big course and one big program that, people, it's like the go-to program that people want to do if they want to be the best in their field in women's health.
Yeah, I remember when I was actually in Turkey and we were on the phone, and I remember you telling me about all these different courses, and I was like, okay, let's slow down for a second. We need to build like a proper ecosystem here, because I think this is something that I did too. I had so many different things going on, and I remember speaking to a few of my clients actually. This is like a few years later, and they were saying to me, yeah, Lauren, I wanted to start working with Impact School all the way back then, but I didn't really know what you guys were doing because I had a business called Online Fitness Business School. I had all these different other programs, and Impact School was never a thing. And then I basically consolidated everything into Impact School, which is now a very clear roadmap. But that's been a reiteration, a constant reiteration, and something like it's never done. It is never finished. As entrepreneurs, we are constantly improving our product, whether that's a service, a program, a physical product. It's a Kaizen process. Kaizen means continuous improvement. And whenever you get out of that mindset, that's when things start to flop. And so, do you want some coaching right now, by the way? Because I have an idea.
Yeah, let's go for it. Would love it.
Okay.
On the
So
spot.
I
Perfect.
genuinely, okay, no, I love it. Just because, like, this is something that I think I'm pretty uniquely skilled at because I've done it so many times and because I've messed up so many times, right? And so what I know to be true, based upon experience, is having a very strong, let's say 3 to 6 month high ticket offer, which provides them, blah, blah, which provides them with some type of guaranteed result or certification, right? So this could be your certification program. This is the one where they go through it and then at the end they pass the test and they get their certification. And that's the one which consolidates everything that you have. So it takes them through all the different modules and so on and so forth. And then on the back end of that, they have the retention product, which is essentially your mastermind, as you mentioned. So right now you have one core product, one retention product, and then, okay, once that is built out and fully functioning and converting, you then have your high ticket back end, and you know that the people that come into that main high ticket product, they're most likely going to stay on. And then if they're not staying on, you need to do some strong analysis as to why and where people are dropping off, and survey them and ask them, what would you do in order to stay? So literally just ask your clients, if they don't want to continue on with you, how can I make this so that you would stay? And then just give them that thing, and then they have no reason to leave. It's very simple, but no one does it. And then once that's built out and your sales system is converting with our sales process that I know is like working for you, right? Bring someone on to start selling that for you, and then you can spend your time on these front end different courses. So then you can have many different low ticket courses, because you know that your high ticket converts. So anyone that's coming into the low ticket courses now, they go through and you have a system to actually sell them into the higher ticket main certification program. That's honestly what I would do, because I just think about everything in this quadrant that me and my team use, which is VILE, VILE, and it's vital, important, luxury, and eliminate. And so I feel like for you, the low ticket courses are actually a luxury, because if people really want the help, they're going to go in the certification program, you know? And so that's honestly what I would recommend. Maybe even instead of loads of different courses on the front end, it's just like a membership site where they pay a low ticket monthly fee, and that's just there for you to cover your operational costs and have a pool of people to upsell into your high ticket who can get the special offers as and when you do them for your high ticket. So that's my
Yeah.
thoughts. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's like, you and Lara have given me so many ideas, like with all of this. It's just like there are so many different ways to go about it as well. And it's just, yeah, it's awesome to be learning as well, because I did get to a point where I was like, I just want to learn business. Like I want to learn marketing. Like it interests me so much. And yeah, just looking for like, who is the person that could teach me that. And so, yeah, I'd seen your stuff before as well. I just wasn't at the right place, like at the right, I wasn't where I needed to be. But then when I was, like, you were there, and it was just like, yeah, this is it. This is the right one.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So if you're watching this now,
100%.
I guess it's a sign. But let's talk about that though, because what shifted for you, right? Like what shifted for you when you felt like you weren't ready versus when you, realized that now was the time for you?
I guess I didn't really have, like, I'd always kind of had like a mentor. So I'd had someone to help me start it, and I'd had someone who kind of helped me get a little bit further to knowing where I wanted to go. But I knew I just was in this point where it was like, it was doing well, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And so I knew, like, if I wanted to progress to the next level, I would have to invest. And it's the same with the students that come to me as well. Like, the growth that they have from investing is just like, it makes such a difference. And so, yeah, I think, like you said before, like when the student's ready, the teacher arrives. And yeah, it was just, I was at that point where I was like literally like looking for someone. I was like, I need someone to help me out. And like, there you were on Insta, on your stories. And yeah, it was perfect timing.
Poof, there I was. Do you remember what post of mine that you saw that made you get interested in working with Impact School?
Yeah, I think it was just a story where you were walking face to camera, and then you said,
Classic.
if you want this, if you want this, if you want this. Yeah, the classic ones, yeah. Then DM me this word, and like I use that all the time now. It's so great.
There we go. It's a signature, right?
Yeah,
Because if something
it
works,
works.
if it got you, then it will get your clients, right?
Yeah. It just makes it a lot easier, because sometimes you don't know what you need in some cases. And then, we got on that call, and I was like, yes, like this is what I need right now. This is exactly what I need. And so, yeah, I think like you listened to me, you listened to what I needed, and you're able to say, look, I can help you, and I can help you fill that gap.
Yeah. So this is pretty much over half a year ago now. But could you kind of just give a brief walkthrough of everything that we did with you when you were working with us?
For Lara and I, we did have a good period of time. It was just, I think it was around Christmas and New Year's time, we just dropped off a little bit. But it was really helpful. Like every week, she would give me action items to tick off during that week, and I would have a task for that week to go and perform. And she would look at all our marketing emails and give me feedback on our marketing emails. We would talk about, contractor fees and things like that, and just all like this legal stuff that I just had no idea about. So that was really, really helpful to get, I guess, like clarity on like operations, like setting up a company structure as well, like who would my next hire need to be, and basically like what I need to look for putting out the applications. You have all that pre-recorded, so much value in that members portal as well with all like the different courses. So I just, as I went along, I would make my way through the different modules and the different courses. I have my special like set aside day, which is like my study day that I used to go watch through all of those, which was really helpful. So like I was definitely there. I was definitely doing my stuff. I was just I couldn't make it on the group calls because I was sleeping, but yeah, I like having Lara in our time zone, and she lives in Thailand, so she's on the same time zone as Australia was yeah, a lot better because it was, I think, like at a time of day where I was awake.
Yeah, totally. That's something that's become really apparent to me that's so important is making sure that we have employees in every time zone. So right now, my team covers 10 different time zones. And so we actually shifted a lot of our internal coaching because a lot of our clients that started coming in wanted their teams to also start coming to some of the calls and stuff. So we started having different time zone calls as well, which was one of the most powerful things. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily think about when they're running a global business. And I'm so used to having everything everywhere because I've always been in the UK and no one is really in the
Mm.
UK that's typically in this business. Very few people. And so you're always doing business with Australia or the USA, which are like totally opposite from the UK. And so I got in this habit of always trying to think, okay, how can I make sure that I have team members in the various different parts of the world that can support our clients? And that's been really powerful. And it also means that if someone, for example, goes on vacation, then like we have this one client right now, Casey, who's just come in and she's working with Lara, but then she's going to go to the USA for 6 to 8 weeks, and then we'll be able to put her with one of our coaches, Anthony, for that period of time so that she can continue to get coaching because Lara's obviously in Thailand and the time zones won't really work. And so that's been a pretty cool shift as well. And so, Kayla, how do you have confidence in being able to find people on your team that you know can serve your clients? Because you're really skilled at what you do. And I know that when you have so much knowledge, sometimes it's quite scary. So I've heard from other people to actually bring people on. So what's given you the confidence to in other people to let them loose with your clients?
So well, my VA was recommended to me by a girl who actually went through my mentorship. So she has her own coaching, personal training business, and she introduced me to Chelsea, who's my VA now. She's absolutely amazing. I think I just need her to be my NOR. I need her to be my operations manager. But she has her own business, so it's still kind of outsourced at the moment. Um, but I only really take on people to work with me who have actually been through my program. So they've been through my course, they've been through my 6 month mentorship. So Faye, who runs our menstrual cycle course now, like that is like I know, a fair decent amount about the menstrual cycle and women's physiology and health, but she's an expert. And so she came through and she wanted more knowledge on the anatomy and training and biomechanics side, so she worked with me that way. And I worked with her closely for 6 months. I also moved to Perth in that time, and she's from Perth, and so we established a really good connection. And so yeah, we have a friendship as well, and as well as like a working relationship, and I just really trust her, and so that's why, I guess that's how I came to work with her, because I trusted her, I knew her, and I wanted to help her as well as you know, help her build her business as well, because the exposure that she gets through AWPT, and almost like, I think it's a really great client success story as well. Like, it's like, if you go through AWPT, if you go through this mentorship, there is the potential, like if you're an expert in your field, to become part of the company, and to become a part of not just the company but the vision of what it is, and become, one of the leading coaches in women's health, like in the fitness industry. So yeah, I think having had those ladies go through my course and my program really helped solidify for me that they were the right people to be on my team.
Yeah, totally. It's funny because Noor was the same. She went through Impact School and then she came on to. We did actually an entire podcast episode about it. So, anyone listening to this, you can check that out. It's called How My COO Runs My Team of 27 across 10 different time zones. So, check that one out. But it was, she just came in and she was just stellar. And now she's literally like one of my best friends. Like I'm going back to the UK pretty soon, and I can't wait to see her. And I think that's one of the powerful things is that when you bring great people onto your team, you have to nurture those relationships. It's like any relationship. So you need to meet up in person. I think in person interaction is so undervalued actually, and I used to undervalue it myself
Mm,
because I was always like, oh well, I'm an online business, I don't need to meet people in person. And then that's when you can find that your
mm.
company churn is higher with your employees because you don't have that really like you don't have that sort of bond that you would have if you'd have spent time in person. And so it is truly powerful even if you are a fully remote team, which I am. And with that in mind, so for anyone who is looking to become a better coach, what are some words of wisdom that you would leave for them? Even if they don't have a coaching business, maybe they have an agency, but they need to be a coach
Mhm.
for their team or they need to serve their clients. Like what are some things, three things or four things that you would say that they could do?
Yeah, well, I think what you just said with networking is really, really, really important. I have a story that can kind of confirm that. Is two girls who applied for my mentorship were actually in Perth, and I said, "Hey, like, let's go for a walk and get a coffee instead of just, get on a Zoom call and have the conversation that way." And both of them signed up to the course. They both live literally in the suburb that I live in, and uh they even said to me, probably that's what solidified it for me, is that I saw that that you or that you met up with us was a big reason for them wanting to join. They knew I was, invested in them as well, and not just kind of wanting to take their money. They knew I wanted to help. They knew that we can, like we do, we catch up and we go for walks, or we catch up and we train and we film and we like create content together, and I help them with that. And I'm in Sydney now, and I have four girls in my mentorship in Sydney, and we're all going to go train tomorrow. And I think, yeah, building those relationships and building those connections in person is really important. And like you said, like it's not valued enough, but that would definitely be number one, I think, as a coach. Number two, I think, would be getting help, like asking for help, investing in help, um, getting someone who is an expert and who knows what they're doing, who's done it before as well. Like when you're hiring a coach as well, make sure that the coach actually has what you want to achieve, kind of thing. Because you've probably seen it, Lauren, like, or I've seen it too, like all over social media. It's like business coaches who don't actually have a business. Like you actually have a successful business, and therefore you have the tools and the skills to be able to teach people how to build that business. Whereas I see business coaches who don't actually have, like, their business is just business kind of thing, and like they haven't built a business before that. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like getting good at your skill and nurturing your clients, as well as, investing and hiring someone to help you in areas that aren't necessarily your expertise.
And this is literally why I dropped out of university, right? Because I was studying on supposedly UK's number one business degree, and my professors had never had their own businesses. And so that's why it's become so important to me. And for example, Kayla, with everything that you're doing, so my community, which was Strength Feed, which was a place for women to come together to become stronger both physically and mentally, that's now at 200,000, which is insane, which is really, really cool. And back then, when I was doing fitness coaching, I'd had thousands of clients all around the world. And it was just amazing. Like, that's why I love your mission, honestly, because it's like near and dear to my heart. And I know this audience so well, and these women, they need the help, they need the support. Even the girls, like back then, a lot of my clients weren't even women, they were like girls, because I was obviously so young when I started. And I just see this
Yeah.
culture that's indoctrinated in girls from such a young age that's causing all of this disordered eating, disordered exercise, this negative self-image, and treating your body so badly, when actually, if more amazing coaches go through your method in the sense of learning about women's health, then more women are actually going to get proper results and live a more happy, healthy, successful life. And that's why what you're doing is so bloody important to me, because the ripple effect is huge. And it's empowering in a way that's healthy, because I think as well there's now gone to the other extreme where there's this whole women's health movement, which isn't even healthy, because it's like encouraging you to remain in an unhealthy body state, which is not good for you long term either.
Mm,
And so I think that's where what you're doing is just important. We could talk about this all day, I'm sure. But
yeah.
just going
Yeah.
back to
Going back to
oh sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, no. I was just going to say, like, going back to what you said about dropping out of university. It's the same for me. Like, I thought I wanted to do business, right? Like, I was like, yep, I'm going to do business. So I did, I think it was year 11, I did business studies, thinking that I would go on to do that in year 12, where I just couldn't, because the teacher didn't have a successful business. And he was just so boring. So I dropped out in year 11 of business studies. Then after school, I was like, no, I still want to kind of do business. So I went to TAFE and I did a TAFE course in like business management. And it was so uninspiring as well, because like this teacher didn't have like a business. So I think, yeah, it is really important like to have a business coach who actually has a successful business. And that's why I think, it hasn't been boring. Like, I've absolutely loved studying through Impact School, and it has helped me so much. And having that one-to-one as well was really, really valuable. And so, yeah, just to go back to like, you need to hire someone who walks the walk and who talks the talk. Like, it's same in the fitness industry, right? Like, if you want to hire a coach, let's say, and they're like not super like in shape, like, are they doing what they're telling you to do? Are they walking the walk and not just talking the talk, kind of thing? And, again, like you said, it can go the opposite way. Like, you see these all super lean, super shredded fitness models on Instagram as well. You want them to be your coach, but their methods aren't necessarily healthy either. It's just, there's so much like misinformation on social media, and just in general with like women and body image and things like that. So yeah, I really wanted to create that platform and that company where people can just have the answers without the bullshit, and say, like, this is what this is, this is what this is. There is no black and white. Like, know all of it, so that you can make the right decision for your client.
I love it. I love it. And a vision that I have for Impact School, and this might be interesting for you to think about too, is because I see a lot of clients that we have coming in, like a considerable number are business coaches. And so one thing that I'm thinking about doing, well, I will do, but it won't be in the near future, it will be in the more distant future, is actually creating a license program so that people can become certified impact school coaches, and they can use our methods and apply that to clients as they like, but then they're just operating essentially under our license. And then that's going to empower them to have the right
Mm,
methods and to be able to be business coaches even if they haven't had their own business, because they're using methods that we know work, and then they can operate and serve people in that
yeah.
sense. So that's something that I'm wanting to do, because everyone does seem to want to be a business coach these days. Not everyone, that's an extreme word, but a lot of people, because people know that it's a very, very lucrative market. And so this is where I would need to see certain checks and balances to make sure that you can actually meet certain criteria to become a certified impact school coach and license out our methods, so that I know that you're going to be able to do it properly. But yeah, that's also something that I've been
Mm,
thinking about, because we're obviously so good when it comes to training people, whether it's clients or team, that we know that we could do that for people. So it's something, yeah, that maybe, like, because you're obviously taking people already through a certification, but then maybe it's that you kind of create this like licensing model as well on the back end, because then that becomes extremely lucrative for you, because you're basically then the owner of a franchise, and then the franchise owner is always going to be able to build something that goes, way beyond them and just what their company could do if you were the one, like McDonald's, right? That's for all franchises. So just some food for thought.
yeah. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I love where your mind is at. I can't wait to like meet up one day and we're just gonna like throw ideas around. It's gonna be so fun.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be insane. So you need to come to Dubai, right? Because like there's this insane walk here. I do it like not the whole thing. I used to do the whole thing every day, but I don't walk as much as I used to. And it's just all the way around the marina, and it's like so good. There's cool coffee shops all along the way. We can go just grab like an acai bowl or something. Honestly, you're gonna love Dubai. Like you really need to come here, and I think you're gonna end up moving here,
Y-
or at least spending some time here,
Yeah,
because
so
it's so
committed.
good.
Yeah,
It's not
definitely.
even that
For
far
sure.
from.
I'll
It's
be
not
there.
even good. In let's do it in like just before Christmas, in November or something. You're gonna come, and then we do an
Okay,
in-person
done.
podcast.
Done. Yeah,
Boom.
done.
Okay, live on air. It's happening. Kayla in Dubai. Hashtag Kayla in Dubai.
We'll make it a hashtag. We'll take selfies
I
all
love
around
it.
Dubai.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we will. Yeah, because we can go to all the cool gyms as well. There's a lot of cool gyms here. A lot.
Yes, I've seen you
Yeah.
training at them. I'm like, I need to go there.
I know. But there we go. Okay, cool. So, with that in mind, I wanted to ask you: is there anything else? Because you know the audience of Impact School, they're all entrepreneurs, people trying to grow their business, get started, or scale. Maybe they're even at the stage where they're pretty successful and they want to take it to the next level. So, what are some things that you would advise to them? We kind of just went through a couple, but are there any words of wisdom
Mhm.
that you would like to leave with people?
You know what? I think as well, like one thing I've learned is that you do need to look after yourself as well. Like I spoke about before my ex, like he is just not healthy, like in terms of like his mental health because his business is his everything. So having that,
Mm,
like I don't want to say balance because I feel like balance isn't like the word, like never anything is never really in balance, but it's also like almost trying to maintain that balance between like your health, your business, and your relationships is going to be something that is going to give you overall fulfillment. Because if you just have like, one single focus and one thing, you might not necessarily, feel that fulfillment if that's not for you. So I think, making sure that you're nurturing your relationships while you're working on your business and working on your purpose, as well as keeping your health. Because if you don't have those things, then it's just like your whole life kind of becomes about that. You start attaching your worth to it. I've definitely been down this road as well. Like if I'm not getting like enough clients at a certain point, it's like, why aren't I good enough? Like what am I doing wrong? And it's like, well, it might just be like a slow period or something like that. And so yeah, I think maintaining your overall health, mental, emotional, physical health is really important if you want for longevity, like for longevity of your
mm.
business as well, and for life too.
Oh, so agree with you. I so agree. Even my simple shift that I've made in the past month of stopping intermittent fasting and actually eating when I first wake up. I have like a quick snack, and then like 30 minutes to an hour later, I'll have an actual breakfast. Oh my gosh, this has changed my life. I swear. Because I always used to think intermittent fasting is so good for peak performance and biohacking, and I was doing it for like 7 years. And then it's that whole case of I didn't know how good I could feel because I thought that's how I was meant to feel. And now I feel amazing. And it's so true. It is so true.
Yeah.
Because what everyone says in the entrepreneur community, this is a big pain point for me that I do know needs to be addressed. And the problem is that obviously you can't do so many things at once because you're never going to be able to actually get anywhere. I always say to people, you can do everything, just not right now, right? So you can do everything and anything you want in life, just not right now. And so everything has to be put into like the future visions. And so I know that in the future, something that I want to do is to be able to serve the entrepreneur community when it comes to health and fitness. But I think my method of doing that is going to be more so through companies that we're taking with like, because we have our venture branch now, is companies that I'm actually taking equity in rather than me starting this whole new company. So I'll be looking for businesses to actually acquire and invest in because it is such a problem. And all the stuff that I hear, like big entrepreneurs with massive personal brands talking about when it comes to health and fitness is literally killing me. Like it's painful. All these hacks. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is such bad information that's being spread. But hey, we'll have to solve that. We can solve that together.
Yeah. We'll do it.
I love it. Awesome. All right, Kayla. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. So everyone go check out AWPT_university on IG. And then your Instagram is at Kayla Lee Physio. This has been a pleasure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to coming on your podcast. So what's the name of it? So that when people should go listen to that one next.
Yeah. The AWPT podcast is what it's called.
Easy, keeping it simple. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure to hit subscribe here. And if you're interested in becoming a client of Impact Schools, you can right now actually just head over to the Impact School Instagram, which is impact_school, and send a message on there saying the word podcast, or should I say podcast if you're American, because sometimes when I say podcast, people don't know what I'm saying. And then we'll know that you came from here. And yeah, we'll have a chat. One of my team will pick up that message and be able to get back to you with any further information. Or if we're already chatting and you've seen this pop up, just reconnect with me, reconnect with someone from my team, and then hopefully we can welcome you to Impact School. And you can have the amazing growth like Kayla's had and like many more of our clients have had. So thank you so much, guys. Lauren Tickner here, over and out, and I will see you next time. So make sure you have hit subscribe, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you're listening to this on a podcast app. You can catch Impact School, this podcast that you're listening to right now, on the iTunes podcast app, which comes automatically downloaded on your iPhone. If you're on Android, you can listen on Stitcher, and you can even listen on Spotify as well. So make sure you've subscribed, make sure to tune in, and I look forward to seeing you next week